Hello, I'm not dead. Surprise! Turns out weekly schedules are extremely not stressful, but hard to keep track of. And I'm trying it out, probably for the last time, because this is going to be definitely interesting. Trying to recap my whole week. But, oh well. Hi, my name is Hudson. I am a sophomore at Eau Claire University, and this semester I am studying abroad in Japan. And this is my attempt to keep everything in line as to what I've done, what I will do, and hopefully inspire someone else to study abroad. Because if you are up for it, it is definitely worth it. I have paper all over my desk, paper shreds. Go away. I will vacuum tomorrow. Again, hi, I'm not dead. I think that's going to be the title of the video, is what days I'm recapping. And hello, I'm not dead. Currently, it is October 1st. It is nearly 1 o'clock on October 1st. So I'm in a whole month ahead of everyone, except for people on this side of the planet. Actually, I am the first in October 1st. Because I'm ahead of everybody else. Everybody else is behind me. That's pretty cool. I am the first in October 1st. Rad. Hi. Lot to go over this week. I'm going to kind of breeze over my weekend, last week, this week, technically still, because not a whole lot happened. So NLBL was, I believe, the last thing I checked up on was, give me a second, 32 and 33 were the last two episodes, were the last 2 days in an episode. So I'm going through, oh no, 1 second. It was exactly 1 week. Exactly 1 week. It was 7 days ago. Exactly 1 week was 32 and 33. So officially it is day 40 for me right now. So I'm going to be going over the last 6 days, because today is the 7th. If my maths. 7 days ago was last week, Saturday. So I'm going over Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and today. Okay. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, Sunday. I didn't do. Ask her. I'll go over both days. Saturday and Sunday didn't do a whole lot. One of the days, I don't remember which, I went to dinner with a friend of mine, and I experienced some more general cultural food. One of them was chicken lungs. Yeah, chicken lungs. I said it. One of them was bird, just bird. I don't know what kind of bird, but it was bird. There was grilled pork, which is my favorite. And then there were French fries with some sort of seasoning on them. And there was one that was kimchi with cheese and pork. And that was actually my favorite piece of the whole thing. That was delicious. Excuse me, full of burps. I just had a bunch of water. I don't remember anything else. And then she also got mango? No, it was a citrus. Yummy? It was a citrus. It was like a Asian lemon orange kind of thing. And it was a sorbet. And I stole a chopstick full, and it was quite delightful. I was expecting it to be a very, very sour, because I learned about the fruit in class, in my actual Japanese cuisine class, because of how popular it was. And I don't remember the name. I feel like I should, but it was pretty tasty. Sunday didn't do anything. I studied for my test on Monday, which was my first official test for my Japanese language. I did pretty well. And LBL is I actually got it back on Wednesday, and I did really, really well. I only lost 9 points out of the 50 that were given. 50 or 40. I don't remember. It's a big difference, but there was like 50 or 40 points. I only lost 9 because I remember a 1 in my score and being very happy with it. So, yes, 9 points off out of the 50 that were there. We're going to go with 50 because that sounds better. And then for the rest of the day, I had nothing for the rest of the day on Monday. But I just took the test. Turns out that some of the studying I did was a little inhibiting, because there was homework that I was supposed to do Sunday night for Japanese. I forgot to do it. So in the time that it took me to go upstairs, so precursor. One of the first quizzes that we did for hiragana, I was one of the last ones done, if not the last one. I went from that to being one of the first ones done with the test and having a really, really good score that I'm really happy with. Being able to go all the way up to my room, do a whole listening homework assignment, and coming back down and handing it in, and just kind of under the guise of, oops, I forgot it in my room. And now it's on the internet, but hopefully it's already graded by now, so it doesn't matter. So I did that. That was Monday. I didn't do anything else after that was too big. I haven't done anything this whole week aside from schoolwork. It's been kind of a hefty week where things start picking up in pace. We have our first test this week, kind of big stuff. Tuesday was, let me see, I had class, and then I had for Ghosts and Monsters, which was second class, and then cuisine. Cuisine went by pretty quickly, and we got a little bit of a breakdown on the quiz that we were supposed to do this week. I already did it. And we got more information on general cooking, as well as a precursor to what we're doing on Thursday, which was a tasting regimen kind of thing. I'll get to that later. Thursday in class, we had 2 more presentations. No, we didn't have any presentations that day in class. And we talked about some more stories. We went over the author of Moichi, the Earless, Mimi o Moichi. Whatever the term in Japanese is for earless. It was Mimi o something. Moichi. And that was the dude's name. It's actually a pretty interesting story. We'll watch the full story of it on Thursday, which I will get to later. And then that night, I did some studying, again, more studying for the hiragana test that I had on Wednesday, Wednesday, the hiragana test also did really, really well on. I only missed 0.1 point. And I drew the entirety of the all 46 symbols. I drew them all like 8 times until I remembered everyone by heart. I still do. I remember both of them, hiragana and katakana. I know 3 alphabets, and I'm about to learn kanji. Fun stuff. I think we're learning kanji soon. I don't recall when quite yet, but well. Thursday. Thursday. First was the tasting. That was actually really interesting. So I had 5 things to taste. One of them, the first one we did was konbu, which was a kind of seaweed that was prepared in a way that was it was prepared, but it wasn't edible, if that makes any sense. So the thing that we were able to eat, we were more like putting it on our tongue and just kind of letting our saliva and our tongue dissipate the flavor. It was super, super bitter. Kind of the first little bit wasn't too bad. It was very salty, preservative. But then the rest of it, which was the umami flavor, as I've come to learn, what kind of proliferated through the rest of our mouths. And it was super bitter. It was kind of gross. I didn't mind it, but it wasn't the best. It was pretty gross. After that was a regular piece of paper, like a control, I suppose. I still have residual nasty bamboo on my tongue. And then we tried a PCT tab, which is an acronym for a very long compound that is found in a whole bunch of stuff. And it's actually the chemical that kids aren't used to, which is why they don't like vegetables, or at least one of the reasons. It's just a bitter and kind of savory flavor that's, first of all, awful on its own. There's also found chocolate, which I found was interesting, and licorice, which is equally interesting because, well, I love both of those things, but hated the flavor. And I tasted it very, very strongly. We tried it twice. Those who didn't taste it as strongly were, it's not really a gene, but it's a running theory that the gene is kind of like the cilantro gene. My professor doesn't like that theory. He says that technically our taste buds change yearly, which is also true. So tastes vary and change, and somewhere down the line, people might end up liking uh, or tasting it less or tasting it more. So not liking or disliking, but just being able to detect it. After that was white chocolate, thankfully. It was kind of a sweet flavor as opposed to the other nasty two flavors. Then he had us commit sacrilege in my eyes, and we mixed white chocolate, the little flavor discs, um, the melting chocolate tabs, with nori powder. And nori is the seaweed that you use and you find when you wrap seaweed into, which is technically not seaweed, which I also learned on Saturday. Seaweed is wrapped around, like it's called a seaweed wrap, yeah, like a wrap seaweed roll. Nori, norigiri, I think, something like that. I have the word for it saved. But seaweed, adding seaweed to sushi takes away from the fact that it's actually sushi. Sushi is just rice and raw fish pressed together with like other flavors and wasabi. It's like a little square. Like if you ever see this in like a sushi restaurant, it's because that's how they make sushi. They're not wrapping it. A roll is a different thing, completely different thing. So a sushi roll is not technically a sushi roll; it's a seaweed roll, and sushi is absent and has nothing to do with seaweed. Sometimes there are seaweed pieces, but that's only for containment of certain meats. Like if you have a big piece of shrimp or you have a big piece of fish, a big piece of fish that's attached to the rice, then you'll have like kind of roll around it with a little band, not a whole cover. But then a roll itself that you find traditionally, you get your gas station sushi. Yeah, yeah, that blew my mind. So, um, uh, norigiri is wrapped in nori powder and nori seaweed. And so we are trying nori powder along with white chocolate, which is supposedly a very good mix. I thought it was tasted disgusting, and I made my teacher crack up because of what I said and how I commented on it. It was more funny in the moment, but I said some things along the lines of, "This is disgusting. This is sacrilege. This tastes like how um, fish food smells." Um, what else did I say? How could you ruin my chocolate like this? This smell comes. This smell smells like it wafted through the gates of hell. I made everyone laugh. Basically, I'm a comedian and basically a big deal. So that was that. Um, After the white chocolate, we tried a date. I've never tried a dry date before, and I know for a fact that I'm gonna get the "I told you so," but they look like cockroaches. The only reason I tried it this time because of peer pressure. Turns out it works. I didn't want to look like the wuss, so I tried a date. It wasn't that bad. So what? It was dried. I didn't actually eat a fig. Not a fig. What's a date? Is a date to a fig as is a raisin is to a grape? I don't remember. I think a date is its own fruit. Pretty sure a date is its own fruit, and dried dates are kind of something completely different. But regular dates are nasty looking. The one that I had, they're all nasty. They look like cockroaches. Who am I kidding? They all look gross. But the texture was a lot like, almost like a bean. Like this, not kind of gritty, but the planty kind of, like a giant pinto bean. Like a very sweet pinto bean is kind of what it tasted like, and then the outside reminded me of a plum. That's what it was. That's what it is. The dried plum is date. Yes? No. What the heck is a dried plum called? A fig? There's so many kinds of fruits. I'm not a botanist. I'm not a god or a botanist. I am clearly tired. The skin was sort of plum-y in texture. And if it's because it's a dried plum, then that's why. But it was very sweet. It was very caramely. It was very, very naturally sweet, which I quite enjoyed. I think it would actually have gone well with the white chocolate, but I didn't try to taste it. Um, so that was delightful. I savored that. And then I also had two more pieces of white chocolate as well as extra nori powder that I didn't touch after that because it's nasty. Nori powder, I could smell the nori powder when we opened the bag the first time. I could smell it from across the room. I eat that regularly. Sushi is delightful. No, norigiri. Norigiri is delightful. Sushi, I've yet to actually have in its Japanese realistic definition. How much of a fan that makes me of Japanese culture? Probably a little less than I originally thought, but it's fine. I have yet to have sashimi too. Sashimi, by the way, the difference between sashimi and onigiri is the presence of like a glue substance in between the two fish and rice. There's a more adhesive inside. Sashimi is just fish and rice, which is if you were confused. I wasn't confused because I know everything. But yeah, that's whatever. We tried that. It was close to the ending. We just kind of we're just talking about it. It was just kind of open discussion of how flavors worked and stuff like that. He showed us making some apparently rich, famous British chef with his beautiful kitchen making truffles. All of them looked quite delightful. There was one that was just regular old chocolate with homemade caramel in it, rolled around in cookie fairy dust crumbles with gold tinfoil on top. I don't know. The other one was white chocolate no with red wine powder and some sort of other dried raspberry crumble dust. It was rolled around in, so it was all white and red. And the last one was why is relevant to our class was it was white chocolate rolled around in nori powder and what's the other flavor? I'm forgetting. It was umami. It was matcha. No, not matcha. It was miso powder or miso flavor or something. But it was mixed with the white chocolate and then rolled in the nori powder. It looked cool. It looked tasty. I'll give it that. It looked like some sort of spring roll ball. But now that I know what it tastes like, death, I will refuse and refrain from trying anything that has the word nori in it aside from sushi. That's going to be the death of me. Seaweed roll. And now I can, it's thinner. I'm not going to be ingesting it with the white chocolate. It did not mix at all. It tasted so bad. I was expecting it to mix more because it was being suggested to me. And maybe I did it with too much. I don't know. Whatever. After that class, I did some Japanese homework and I was just kind of hanging out on the balcony. Um, I did get to eat lunch with some friends though, which was nice. I got a spicy bowl salad, noodle salad from 7-Eleven with pork in it and an egg, and that was actually really, really good. I'll definitely get that again. It was tonkatsu with a spicy sauce of some sort. And the spicy wasn't that spicy, and I didn't get the heat. It really, really wasn't that bad until close to the end of the bowl when the dressing was all at the bottom. So I'll definitely get that one again. It was very, very tasty. And then the only two of them were there that day instead of the normal three. I got to do some homework along to say hello to a friend who walked by. I did all of my Japanese homework for Friday, and then we watched the movies inside of my monsters class. First one we watched was Yukiona, which is a snow spirit, and actually there's a Pokemon based off of her, and her name is Frostlass. And she even looks similar. She's got the weird haunting eyes and the white kind of cape. Her Pokedex entry in Sword is haunting. She eats frozen souls, which is basically what Yukiona does, except she freezes people and they're drained of all their blood. They're just frozen, like little peoplesicles. And in the story itself, Yukiona, uh, at least in the one that we watched, the one that our professor told us before watching it, was Yukiona finds people inside a blizzard in the mountains, and it's like a old, lost, wandered, beautiful woman's soul. Which is why are all spirits pretty women? Granted, the standards for beauty were a little, different back then. I'm not sure the caked on white makeup is still in fashion, but I could be wrong. So feel free to disagree. Yukiona stumbled upon two unsuspecting, unfortunate people clambering through the woods. One of them, don't know his name, died immediately. He was an old man though, and he got the everything sucked out of him. He was just poof, people frozen, gone. Had a wicked case of frostburn that cost him his life. When you had the other dude, our young and handsome protagonist, who manages to escape the wicked witch of the ice, just being purely dashing and just good looking and genuinely charming, like a friend of yours. He made out with his life as Yukiona T-posed out of the room and just kind of hovered and slid across the floor like a Beyblade, and just kind of stood at the door as the door slammed shut and then opened again to reveal her form no longer there. Then our handsome protagonist went back down the mountain a couple years later, found days later, found someone walking along the road. Years later, I was there the first time, walking along the road, and her name is conveniently Yuki. Sensing a pattern, Yuki stumbles into this nice family between the son and the mother, who does her best for her son, and they both sell firewood together. Yuki then becomes a proud mother of 3 children for this handsome, dashing young man, and then proceeds to live with them for 10 years. 10 years. All the while maintaining a threat over this young man's head, saying, oh, by the way, if you tell anyone what happened here in the mountain, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. Provides children for this man. Mother dies. Man notices her face in the candlelight as she knits a kimono and he makes sandals. Why he makes sandals is beyond me. Is that his job? I don't know. What happened to the firewood? You have more firewood in the house. Sell that. If you made a living selling firewood, could you not do both? I don't know how much time making sandals is exactly. I know, parenting is a full-time job on its own, and I'm not so sure how much they would be helping in chopping down trees, but they'll learn eventually, right? So, Our beloved protagonist retells the night to his beloved wife. His beloved wife turns out to be the murderous spirit that attacked him not so long ago. Reminisced on all the time that they had and said, "Oh, if only these kids weren't here, I would slaughter you here and then. Don't ever let these kids cry. If you're the reason they're upset, I will come back and kill you." And then T-poses out the door. And Tsukion. Snow spirit who makes snow happen, as well as murder happen, but we're not glaze on past that. Moichi was a little bit more interesting story, a little bit more complex. The long and short of it is this blind dude does his best every day at a temple. He's blind, so they're going to take care of him. Very devout, whatever. He even gets water from the well in his blind state, which is no small feat if you're the one walking around with bare feet, no eyes, and there's a hole in front of you. So he's diligent, he does whatever, and he's very good at the biwa, which is a guitar violin of sorts that you play using a giant pick. And seriously, like the size of like the average cell phone, and it's gigantic, and it's like a whole spoon in your hand that's flat and sharp and musical. I don't know how talented you can be with a spoon musically, but should Charlie Puth decide to prove me wrong and make it something out of a spoon, be my guest. I say that because Charlie Puth released a song as of 11 hours ago, and I just remembered it, and I know that he has perfect pitch. That's why that's funny to me. Moichi decides to play outside. In a lovely night, and he decides to serenade the courtyard with his sick guitar skills. A spirit shows up and says, "Hey, bro, your guitar skills are sick. You want to come tell my dead lord the story of how he died? Because apparently you can retell it better than anyone else." So then our Moichi decides to say, "Okay, I'm not telling anybody about this because that's the smart thing to do, right? Spirit contacts you from another world and demands you shred. You shred. There is no other option. Is you will play the guitar." So he wanders, follows this spirit hand in hand, which was super cute, to a graveyard. Lovely date place, I will say. Good atmosphere. And then he performs in front of a very, very sacred group of people, which is the Hiko clan that was drowned in a very famous battle. And now all the crabs are infected with their spirits, and the crabs have samurai faces on them. That's actually a real thing. There were like faces. That was like a gene inside crabs that the Japanese citizens were so scared of because it looked like faces. They were like haunted crabs, and so now the regular crabs are nearly extinct. Same crab, but the gene that has the spooky on it scared off, the apex predator, which happened to be superstitious. People are wonderful. Moichi tells the story night after night after night. Finally, his master of Buddhist proportions talks him out of the his secret phase, convinces him to not, in fact, go talk to the spirits because they're going to kill him. Why he's made it 4 nights is beyond me, but here we are. He then has his right-hand man, because he doesn't know how to write, apparently. Puns. He writes a holy script across Moichi's entire body. He is head to toe, buck naked, standing in the wind. He just gets, ink. He just gets inked up. And here comes his namesake. Spirit comes by, and he goes, "Huh, there's nothing here." And he's looking at Moichi and says, "There's nothing there, except for a pair of ears." Because the guy didn't write the holy hideaway script for Moichi's ears. And so the spirit ripped his friggin' ears off, as any rational decision-making process would come to. He just, I cannot bring Moichi to my lord to continue to shred for us. So, to the best of my ability, I will bring Moichi to the emperor, dead emperor, who was like 4 by the time he died in history. Yoink! It was actually a little more intense than that. It was a great battle, epic proportions, which is weird because it only takes like 5 pounds to rip one of these off. So that spirit was either weak as all get out, or Moichi had some strong earlobes. I'm really, really betting on the latter because it's more funny to me. So Moichi's fighting for his lobes. Spirit makes it out with the ears. And you have Moichi, who throws blood everywhere, by the way. There, like, 4 people are looking for this man, and he hasn't moved since the night before. There is blood tracking everywhere. I don't know how much ears drip, but I'm pretty sure it's not enough to lead 4 people on a wild goose chase for a man that hasn't moved for an entire night. But that's just me. I don't know what old Japanese Hollywood looks like, so. He's fine. He brushes it off. And he becomes then this person of great renown and retells the same story that he was forced to in a much, much scarier setting to a bunch of rich people. And the rich people come darn near daily just to hear this guy tell a story that's hundreds of songs long with 13 secret endings and 9 hidden poems. And he does that for a living. He's a blind guy who makes a living off of playing the credit card guitar. And so him getting his ears ripped off was the price of fame, apparently. So all you need to do to become the next Jimi Hendrix is just a little bit of non-plastic surgery. If you want to get metal surgery, little snip. That's not a joke. That's not a joke, I should say. I'm gonna keep that one to myself. I really, really okay. No, Friday. Actually, no. Thursday night, I got another really, really big package from a whole lot of people. Because apparently there have been people in on it, and you beautiful buggers are awesome, and I hate you because I wasn't expecting something. First of all, $150 to ship? Are you out of your mind? Second of all, that's a lot of food up there. Taste of home is tasty. Third, there are several things that I will not be showing on camera because you guys are ridiculous. There is something over there, that has a keychain on it. You know who you are. You know exactly who. I'm sleeping with it. That is in the bed. You can't. That's hilarious. Another thing, I've already worn it. You're not seeing that either. 3, there's a Star Wars shirt. It's pretty cool looking. I'll show that one. I've never had one of these shirts. I've always considered these the nerd shirts. But it's like actually kind of cool. It's like a little X-Wing. Disney, stop sponsoring me. Or Mott's. I'm a filthy sellout. I'm broke. Hit me up. But, yeah. I got that. I got a support t-shirt. I get to support Waukesha West Tennis. Always lovely. I have some socks. I have Pikachu socks. This is it. It's time. I've peaked, is what I'm trying to tell you. In regards to food, there's a lot. There's mac and cheese. There's like Chips Ahoy. There's Pop-Tarts. There's Cheez-Its. There's licorice. What I'm trying to say is I have the best friends. I have the coolest people in my life. Period. I don't care who you think you have. Mine are cooler. Also got this sick ring. If I can find where is it? It's Legend of Zelda, which is my all-time greatest obsession. I have lots of Legend of Zelda things. I have purchased in the past fake rings, earrings. The ones that just kind of clip. They don't actually close and hoop into my ears. They just kind of close on my ears. The only ones that I have that are still in a pair are the one that match Link's. Nintendo sponsor. This is a stupid bit. So that's super awesome. I got Glitter Bomb too. That was cool. A heck of a contraption though. I don't know if you can, probably can't hear it. It's gonna explode. I'm gonna just leave that. I'm gonna leave that where it lies because the tension is so great. Today was a lot less eventful. I had a vocabulary quiz because there is absolutely zero time to breathe in my Japanese class. Don't think I did as great at that one, but less than suck. It sucked less than normal, so I have hopes. There was some new words that we're doing verbs now, and there's like three new words that connect actions to places and times, which is ni, which is also conveniently the number 2. This is a nightmare. But so let's say it's like 7:00. So let's say Mary decided to go to McDonald's, eat a hamburger at 7:00. It would be Mary-san wa shichiji ni McDonald's de hamburger o tabemasu. Tabemasu is the verb for eat. It's actually taberu. Tabemasu is mas form, which conjugates it to a form of present action. And it is kind of, if you have taberu, it's kind of like the base form. Tabemasu are the mas form is the batteries into, you have the remote, right? Taberu. Mas is the batteries to the remote to make the remote do other things. So with that knowledge, you have tabemasen. And tabemasu becomes a negative, tabemasen. So you can have the whole sentence, Mary wa shichichi ni McDonald's de hamburger o tabemasu, which makes the whole sentence negative instead of like, oh, Mary's going to McDonald's at 7:00 to eat a hamburger. Instead of saying, no, she isn't. It's the whole sentence again, but conjugated negatively, which is a pain. Ni, also, by the way, is not only the number 2 or a verb to connect the rest of the sentence to a time, but it's also a article to connect the rest of the sentence to a destination, as in movement. So if you're going to, so ikudu is to go. Ikimasu is the action of going, and the batteries of the remote. Ikimasu is the end of the sentence, and mas is kind of like the des of verbs. So if you have, I'm going to the library, toshoko ni ikimasu. So it connects not only time, but places as well. De is a place where you are. Ni is for destinations and times. De is for places that you are currently, where the action is performed. So if you're performing an action, you connect it to a destination at a time. So you can have ni connecting 2 words in a sentence to the sentence. De is you're connecting another destination that you're currently at to the action. And then o is connecting another subject to a verb. I'm sorry for everyone who has ever had to learn English. So realizing I'm complaining about this, knowing full well what a pain in the arse that English is in terms of sounds and grammatical rules. Japanese doesn't have a future tense article, like conjugation. It's only present, which is present and future, and past. That's it. And then every other word is conjugated the same, but the sentence ends differently. So there's no conjugation for I will go to. Well, that's not true. Like a past tense library. I've been to the library. It's I did go to the library. Like there's another word for it. There are synonyms for words, but not in the same way. All of them. So it wouldn't be like almost or close. So how those are synonyms, almost and close. There'll be one word, but then the synonym for it would branch out in terms of severity. So you have almost and close, but they would mean different ways of measuring. So you have synonyms to the degree of variability instead of variance in language, if that makes any sense. Because I'm explaining this from a foreigner perspective, trying and grasping at straws to connect things to my own language. Let's look at this cup in my box. I made cappuccino. I don't have undiagnosed ADD. You have undiagnosed ADD. I almost shot. Not one word. One word, and I swear to dog. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. It's fine. I'm not losing it. Today, what else happened today? Eastern medicine class talking about. I don't even remember what we were talking about because my mind was not in it. Halfway through the first period of the 2-period class, the girl had a seizure. Yeah. Hooray! Yeah, we had one of the. I don't know what all of the students are in there for that. Therefore, most of them for sociology or psychology. The girl that tapped out, don't remember her name, don't know anything. One girl who stepped up to the challenge, today's superstar, took charge. Fantastic, did everything right. Everything was super super great. She's a physical therapy major. She's like in her 3rd year, doing great. Today's hero. Good for her. I was kind of sat there. Okay, can't be bothered, I suppose. She was super pale though. It was super crazy. I've been in the presence of 3 people fainting now. 4 major injuries, not major injuries, but 4 times when medics had to be in the room. I've been with people in that danger. So that was fun. I don't remember. I got full marks for the day. My mind map was stellar. I couldn't tell you what we talked about. But yeah, that was my week. Also, in the span of a week, I have completely read the entirety before bed and after my homework was done. I read the entirety of the My Hero Academia manga. For those of you at home curious, it's a high school for superpowered kids dealing up against basically Armageddon in the shape of a 20-year-old white-hair angsty machine who now has the power of like 6 gods crammed into his pea-sized angry brain. 367 chapters. 7 days. Super good. My favorite character is in it. He's the best. Blasty, love him to death. For those of you who know exactly what I'm talking about, is this guy. Using my screensaver. Because he's loud and obnoxious and I love him. I honestly don't know what else to talk about. This is the longest episode I've ever had, and I feel like I'm hilarious. However, it is 1:37 a.m. I am a little sleepy. So, before this hits 45, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. And I'll see you in 2 days. Arigato.